everybody, it's Christina and thank you for joining me. So today I'm going to use another everyday item that you can often find in your own home, and this is stuff that usually comes wrapped in parcels that you often throw away, and then when you need to find some to wrap your own parcels you can't find it. But this is bubble wrap, and this is the small version of the bubble wrap. So these are just some of the designs that I've created with the bubble wrap. This one is the same panel but it's been split into two. This one I've stamped and coloured some flowers onto it, and this one is used a two-tone one. For this one I've used green and yellows, and I've put some text on the back. So let's have another go now at making some card backgrounds with this bubble wrap. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my bubble wrap down into sort of A5 size pieces, and the same with my card. Now I've got a brayer and I'm going to use distress inks. So I'm going to use a speckled egg and antique linen. And the first one I'm going to create is going to be a two-tone one. So I'm going to take my brayer. Now if you go direct to your bubble wrap with your ink, you stand the chance of getting it in between the gaps. But if you use your brayer, then you'll just cover the tops of that bubble wrap. So make sure it's well down, put plenty on. So once you have one colour down, clean your brayer and then load it up with the next colour. Now this is speckled egg, so I'm coming in at the bottom of the bubble wrap and I'm going to press that on, and I'm going to let it run up part way up into the other section, and then we'll just dot it down so that the two colours mix. Now you can either pick your bubble wrap up and put that onto your card, or you can pop your card to the top, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to press that down really well. And when you lift it up, that is what you have. Now you need to clean the brayer and your bubble wrap if you want to use them again. So I'm just going to squirt these with some clean water, get some kitchen roll and just clean those off. Now those are now ready to use again with other colours. So there's two pieces I've done. This is antique linen and speckled egg, and this is speckled egg and uncharted mariner. Now if you wanted to, you could just take your ink pads, and we'll take pink raspberry this time, and again a piece of card. Now I'm going to cut this in half because I'm only going to use a portion of this. So we'll cut this in half. Now if you wanted to, you could take your bubble wrap, you could just add it into your inks, and you could just dot this down randomly. And that would just fit anywhere on your card. And then if you fill that with something else, you would make a really pretty design. So let's have a see what else we've got. So here I've got a little text stamp, and I'm going to do exactly the same with that. Partially ink it and add it to my card. And that will just give me a background that I can add now to my designs. Now in my stash I've also found some watercolour flowers that I've done, so I'm going to cut these out and I'm going to add these to that card, and that will be my background. So with another piece of card, some clean bubble wrap and a clean brayer, I'm going to do one more piece, and I'm going to do that in Pink Raspberry and Villainous Potion. So we'll do this, the pink raspberry first, and we'll do that lengthways this time. And again, we'll clean this off. And we're now going to run this through the Villainous Potion. And we'll run this up the other side of the folder, of the bubble wrap. And when we take it off, this is what we've got. Now we can die cut this into different shapes. We can cut it down as a background. We can use it as panels. We can do whatever we want to with that. But that's just a quick and easy way to use up your bubble wrap. If you don't want to waste the ink that's on your bubble wrap, then you can just spray it with some water. And this is watercolour card, and I'm going to use the smooth side. And we'll add that to the card. We'll press that down. And that will give us a more blurry look to the design. Now we can leave that on one side to dry. We can clean the rest of this off now with some kitchen towel, and we can clean the brayer. So by using different shaped dies and utilising black card, I have cut my pieces into different shapes. I've used all the offcuts that are left, and any strips that are left over I can use as for weaving. So these now will all go to make cards, and I'm going to go away and glue all these pieces together. So using bits and pieces that I found on my desktop, let's get the first 3 completed. So we'll take the backings off this, and I've just added some double-sided tape to the back of this. This is just going to sit on the front of my card, and this is just an A6 card, and I'm just using the watercolour flowers that I found on my desktop. So I put foam pads on the back of these. These are just going to sit along here. The bits keep coming off. So we'll just add that on there. To the top of that we'll add a little sentiment when we find one. We'll look for a sentiment. Now for this panel I've just embossed it. I've just dry embossed it. And this is also going to sit on the front of an A6 card. But this time this one is in landscape. So we'll add that in along there. I've got foam tape on the back of these hearts. Now that's got full foam tape on the back. This has only got foam tape on one side because it's going to sit over the top of this one, and that needs to lie level. So under there we can just add a little bit of glue, and that will glue that in place. Now this one has got 2 layers of foam pads on it because that's going to sit in the middle there. And then to the top of this we've got a little sentiment that I've found on my desktop that says "You are amazing," and that will sit right in the middle of those along there. So there's 2 made. Now for this one I've added the hexagon shapes to a card, and I'm going to emboss this. So once I've embossed this panel, we can now add this to the card, and then to the top of that we're going to add in another leaf and another flowers, and this is from the Decoupage Hellebore set. And then on there we'll add in "Thinking of You." So let's just get these in place. These have also got foam tape underneath. So there's the first 3 of our cards done. Now for the second 3 we're going to do a DL, which has got an embossed panel on the front. This is a 5x7, and this is an A6 with the fold at the top. And that's also been done in an embossing folder. So let's decorate these up now and make these a little bit better. For this one, we've got a panel that was left over from die cutting down one of the others. I've added foam to the back, I've added it to some black card, and that's going to sit on there. For this one, I'm going to use some gold gilding wax. So for this one, I've put some gilding wax into the lid, and I'm just going to lightly brush over the raised areas on the card. And that will just highlight those a little bit more. I'm sure you can just see them now in the light. So if you don't want to get your fingers dirty, you can go over this with a little finger dauber, and that will just pick out the areas on the card that you just want to highlight. And there's now the card with its beautiful gold highlighting on it. And then once you've done that, just take a soft cloth, and this just removes any excess pieces of wax that you've got on there, and that will clean that off. Now that will not wash off your glass mat, so if you take a little bit of isopropyl, this will bring it off your fingers and off your mat. So that's now ready to add to our card. Now to decorate the top of this, I've taken Happy Birthday from the Special Words. I've cut the base layer in parchment, and I've cut the Happy Birthday words in gold. And before I add that to my card, I'm going to wrap the card with some gold twine. I'm going to put plenty on, and I'm just going to wrap it randomly, and then on the back we'll just add that in with some foam tape. Now we'll put some foam tape on the back of that, and we'll add that into the card. Now to enhance this panel a little bit more, I've added it onto some gold card, and I'm just making this up really as I go along. So that's going to sit on there, and these will be added to the top along there. So for this card, I've embossed the panel and I've added it to the base. Now I've also put some foam on the back of this, but I found some lace in my stash, so I'm just going to add this lace to the back of that panel and trim it off, and then that can now get added to the card. So that can be either stood up that way or it can sit that way. So I've turned this one into a landscape, and I've turned it into a sympathy card. So we've got a sympathy and a birthday card now. Now for this one, with my bubble wrap background, I've added it to some black card. It's going to sit on the front of a 5x7, but I'm going to put that through an embossing folder first. So for this, I've used the Flourishes embossing folder. I've embossed both layers together, and I'm going to do the same thing as with this as I did with this. So I'm going to just put some gold paint, some gold Pebeo in there, and I'm just going to go over this very lightly with some of the gold colouring. And this is just a little finger dauber that just saves me getting really dirty. So once that's dry, just rub over it with a dry paper towel, and then with some foam pads I'm going to add this to the back of my panel, and this then will be added to my 5x7 base. So this is what I call playtime. you don't really have an idea of what you're doing. You're just playing, finding bits and pieces that you have on your desk or in your crafting stash and making the most of it. So I've also found these butterflies. So they're going to be added to my card. I've got a butterfly trail coming down there. I've got 2 more that is going to sit along here. And I've got a best wishes sentiment that I'm also going to add to my card. So there are 3 more cards made. There's only 1 left to do now. So we'll pop those out of the way and we'll bring this one in. So this is the other background. It's been added to some black card and I've used a circle die just to cut out the middle. Now this is going to be added with some foam tape, but I'm going to make a shaker pocket that will go inside of there. With my piece of parchment I'm going to fold it in half, and then I need to make sure that it fits in there. So we'll keep the closed end to one side and we're just going to trim this off now. Now don't forget, one is already closed up, so on 2 more sides we're going to add in some tape. So once you've added your tape in, you can remove the backing. And you need to make sure that it's sealed all the way along so that it doesn't come open. Now once that's sealed there, you've got that sealed on 2 sides. The 3rd side is where the fold was. Now you're going to fill this with your sequins. And then you're going to make sure that that fits under your pocket in there. And then you can seal the top part of it. So once you've got your sequins in there and you're sure that it's all sealed and nothing can come out, you're then going to pop this inside your card. Now you need to make sure that there's no tape visible from the front and that your sequins will move. So now we can add this into the card, and I'm going to use red line tape because this is strong tape. Now I'm going to add this to the card base with some foam tape underneath. Now I need to make sure that there's no tape showing through those sides. So we can pop some there, we can pop a piece there, and that will sit on the front of our card. So there's our shaker card. It's got another hand-drawn watercoloured flower on it and best wishes. I've decorated it with some sequins just to finish it off. There's our gold background one with the butterflies on it. They've got the wings loose so that they can flutter. There's our heart card. And all these are created from the bubble wrap background. So there's our sympathy card. There's our best wishes card with the hand-drawn flowers on it. There's our birthday card with the gold background. There's another one with a flower on it. And these are cards that I made the other day. So these now are all my cards from the bubble wrap background. And I think they make really pretty cards. So some of the items that I've used apart from the bubble wrap have been my inks and a brayer. And I've used several embossing folders, different shape dies to get the looks that I want, butterflies from the birthday and celebration pretty book collection, and I've used sentiments from the special words set. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please join me on the next one. And why not subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and you'll always be aware when I add a new video. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.